Good afternoon, students. In the last video, we have discussed about cross pollination. That cross pollination is the transfer of pollen grains from anthers of one flower to the stigma of genetically different flower. Means the transfer will takes place from one plant to the another plant. Means two flowers are there belonging to two plants, and those plants may be of same species or the different species, and cross pollination requires some agents, biotic as well as abiotic agents. So abiotic agents are wind and water. Today we will discuss about the wind pollination, that is the anemophily. Fine. Anemos means the wind and philine means love. Simply it is a wind pollination, means the transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma through the agency of wind is known as anemophily. Fine. Or simply when the transfer of pollen grains takes place through wind, it is called as the anemophily. And anemophily is common in some plants like coconut palm, date palm, maize, grasses and cannabis. Cannabis is a drug plant. Fine. Now what are the features of the flowers which are pollinated through wind? Fine. The first one is flowers are very small in size and they are inconspicuous. Inconspicuous means इतने छोटे हैं कि हम उन्हें नोटिस भी नहीं कर सकते. Inconspicuous, which cannot be noticed, are known as inconspicuous. Fine. Secondly, flowers, they don't have any color, they don't have any smell, and they don't produce nectar. So they are colorless, they are odorless and nectarless. Fine. Third is the non-essential parts are either absent or reduced. We know flower is having two parts, essential parts and non-essential parts. Essential parts are the reproductive parts, male and female, and non-essential parts are calyx and corolla. So calyx and corolla are either absent or they may be reduced. Fine. These three features were about the flower. Next is about the male part, that is anther. Fine. Anthers are versatile in those flowers which are pollinated through wind. Fine. Versatile means which are able to adapt different functions or the activities. This feature is also about the anther, that in some cases like in the flowers of Eutrica, anthers burst suddenly and they will throw the pollen grains. This process is called as gunpowder mechanism. जैसे एक गन, जब गन चलाते हैं तो जो गोली है वो बहुत दूर तक जाती है ना, एकदम से. In the same way, anthers बहुत सडनली बहुत तेजी से बर्स्ट होंगे और बहुत दूर तक पोलन ग्रेन्स को थ्रो करेंगे. ठीक है. दैट्स व्हाई कॉल्ड एज गन पाउडर मैकेनिज्म. These two features were about male part, that is the anther. Then what about the female? Stigma is hairy, feathery or branched. Why the stigma is hairy or feathery? So that it can catch the pollen grains. It will be easy to catch the pollen grains if stigma is hairy and feathery. Fine. Now what about pollen grains? Pollen grains are produced in very large number. Why they are produced in large number? Because here the pollination is accomplished by wind, और wind के through pollen grains कहीं पर भी जा सकता है. मे बी वो pollen grain किसी stigma पर land करे या ना करे, है ना. So to enhances the chances of fertilization, pollen grains are produced in large number. And we can take the example of a cannabis plant, that a single flower of cannabis can produce 5 lakh pollen grains. Fine. Next, pollen grains are light, small, winged, dry, non-sticky and unwettable. Fine. They are small and light in weight. Why? Because again the pollination is through wind. और अगर पोलन ग्रेन्स का वेट बहुत ज़्यादा हो जाएगा तो विंड कैरी नहीं कर पाएगी उसे. फाइन. हमने कैसे पढ़ा फीचर्स को? सबसे पहले आपको याद करना है एक फ्लावर के बारे में, बिकॉज समटाइम्स स्टूडेंट्स विल नॉट बी एबल टू लर्न ऑल दीज पॉइंट्स. आपको कैसे लर्न करना है? सबसे पहले फ्लावर के बारे में सोचिए. सबसे पहले हमें तीनों फीचर सिर्फ फ्लावर के ही लिखने हैं. फिर एक फ्लावर में मेल पार्ट होता है, ये एंथर के फीचर्स लिख दिए हमने. फिर एक फ्लावर में स्टिग्मा में फीमेल पोर्शन होता है, ये स्टिग्मा के फीचर्स आ गए. फिर मेन मोटिव क्या है? पोलन ग्रेन्स का प्रोडक्शन होना. ये पोलन ग्रेन्स की पोलन ग्रेन्स कितने प्रोड्यूस होंगे, कैसे प्रोड्यूस होंगे और क्या उन पोलन ग्रेन्स की क्वालिटी होगी. फाइन. अब इस प्रोसेस का रिजल्ट कि ये प्रोसेस कैसी है, एनिमोफिली किस टाइप की पॉलिनेशन है. It is a wasteful process. Why it is wasteful process? Because it is non directional. विंड की कोई डायरेक्शन नहीं होती, हमें पता है. तो पोलन ग्रेन्स पता नहीं किसी स्टिग्मा पर जाके लैंड भी करें या ना करें. सो इट इज टोटली अ वेस्टफुल प्रोसेस. फाइन. एंड दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट that wind pollinated flowers often have single ovule in the ovary and numerous flowers packed into an inflorescence. For example, in maize plant, like corn is a maize plant, the tassels of corn cob, in tassels various flowers are packed together into an inflorescence. आपके एग्जाम में ये क्वेश्चन पूछा जाता है बहुत बार कि tassels of corn cob किस पार्ट को रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं. सो tassels of corn cob represent the male part. Function of tassel is the production of pollen grains in maize. So tassels represent the male flower, the male reproductive parts in maize. Fine. So let's revise. Pollination through wind is called as anemophily, and it is very much common in many grasses, cannabis, coconut palm, date palm, maize, etc. Flowers are very small and inconspicuous, means which we cannot notice. They are colorless, odorless, nectarless. Non-essential parts, calyx and corolla, are either absent or reduced. Anthers are versatile. In some cases, anther bursts suddenly to throw the pollen grains. What about stigma? Is feathery so that it can catch the pollen grains. Pollen grains produced in very large number. For example, cannabis flower can produce 5,000 pollen grains. Pollen grains are very light, small, winged, dry, non-sticky and unwettable, and it is a wasteful process because it is non-directional. And the last one is the flowers are, you can say the numerous flowers are arranged in inflorescence, and there is a single ovule in the ovary in the flowers which are pollinated through wind. For example, you can say the tassels of corn cob, and tassels represent the male part of maize. यहाँ पे जो इम्पोर्टेंट क्वेश्चन बनता है आपका वो ये है कि ऐसी पॉलिनेशन के बारे में बताओ, ऐसी पॉलिनेशन का टाइप या उसके फीचर्स बताओ जिसमें पोलन ग्रेन्स जो होंगे वो कैसे होंगे, लाइट, स्मॉल और विंग्ड होंगे, या जिसमें स्टिग्मा हेयरी और फेदरी होगी. इट इज़ अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन. फीचर्स से आपको क्वेश्चन आएगा तो आपको फीचर्स लर्न होना चाहिए. जब आपको ये फीचर पता होगा तभी आप बता पाओगे दैट दिस टाइप ऑफ पॉलिनेशन इज द विंड पॉलिनेशन. फाइन. पहले आपको बताना होगा दैट इट इज विंड पॉलिनेशन, देन यू विल हैव टू राइट द फीचर्स. ओके.